Okay, so get this. Using play to help heal communities after conflict.
Interesting.
That's what we're looking at today.
Okay.
How things like, recreation, arts, even sports can be tools for peace building and reconciliation.
I like it.
Our guide for this deep dive is an article called Reconciliation and Peace Through Recreation, Play, and Leisure.
Catchy.
We'll uncover how these approaches work, see real-world examples from World Vision's work in conflict zones, and even traditional practices like the Akoli Wango gatherings in Uganda.
Cool.
It's fascinating to think about how we can use these basic human needs like connection and expression to help communities recover and rebuild.
Totally.
So the article starts by highlighting the power of arts and culture.
Okay.
It explains how creative expression like music, dance, or visual arts can be a powerful tool for processing trauma and rebuilding community bonds.
That makes sense.
One of the key insights here is that trauma often leaves people feeling isolated and voiceless.
Yeah, that's true.
And art can provide a safe and structured outlet for those complex emotions that might be difficult to
put into words.
Yes, exactly.
It's interesting.
What about those societies where people have been through so much that even talking about their experiences
is really difficult?
Yes.
Yeah, can art help with that?
The article actually addresses that.
Oh, cool.
It points out that even in societies where verbal communication is
limited.
Yes, limited due to trauma.
Wow.
The shared language of art can reestablish connections and rebuild trust.
Powerful.
That's really powerful.
Oh, no.
And it's not just about individual healing, right? The article also talks about how art can help entire communities grapple with their
shared history.
Yes, even the painful parts.
Absolutely. It's about creating a space.
A space for
dialogue, for acknowledging different perspectives, and ultimately for finding a shared narrative that allows for healing and moving forward.
So the article lays out a bunch of ways that art can contribute to peace building.
Like what?
Even providing a table to illustrate it.
Wow.
I was particularly struck by this concept of re-symbolization.
Re-symbolization.
What exactly does that mean?
Think of it this way.
Okay.
After conflict, symbols and narratives are often
controlled.
Yes, controlled by those in power.
Oh, I see.
Art gives communities a way to reclaim their agency.
How so?
By creating new symbols and telling their own stories.
Interesting.
It allows them to redefine their identity in a way that's
empowering.
Yeah.
So it's like taking back control of their own narrative.
Exactly.
And the article provides some real world examples.
Like what?
For instance, art projects that have helped communities in South Africa, the DRC, and Burundi come to terms with their past and rebuild relationships.
It's amazing.
Those are some pretty heavy situations.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think that art can have such a tangible impact on the ground.
Totally.
Okay, so we've been talking about art and culture.
Right.
But the article also mentions something about sports and play being used for peace building.
Interesting.
How does that work?
Sport has this incredible ability to transcend cultural and linguistic barriers.
Okay.
The thrill of the game, the camaraderie of a team, it creates a common ground where people can connect.
Regardless of their backgrounds.
Exactly.
But is it really more than just fun and games?
Well,
can sport really be a tool for addressing serious issues like conflict and reconciliation?
Absolutely.
Really?
The article actually provides another table outlining how sports can be used for things like reintegrating child soldiers back into society.
Right.
Wow. Rebuilding communities through playgrounds and even promoting the rule of law.
That's pretty impressive.
It is.
And what about the psychological impact of
conflict?
Yes. Right. Can sport help with things like trauma
and rebuilding a sense of normalcy?
Yes.
The article brings in the perspective of UNICEF on this, highlighting how sport can provide a sense of normalcy and hope in the midst of chaos and conflict.
Right.
It can help children and adults alike to cope with trauma and stress.
So it's like a way to bring back a bit of
joy and stability to their lives.
Exactly.
And by providing a structured outlet for energy and emotions, sport can help to prevent further violence and promote positive social interactions.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So the article talks about the theory, but how are these ideas actually being put into practice?
Well, the article highlights the work of World Vision.
World Vision, okay.
An organization that uses recreation as a core part of its peace-building strategy.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit.
Sure.
How exactly does World Vision use recreation for peace building?
World Vision has identified 5 strategic processes for peace building.
Okay.
And recreation fits right into that framework.
Okay.
They use it to create positive social spaces, foster dialogue, and empower communities to take ownership of their own healing process.
That sounds really holistic.
It is.
But I imagine there are also
ethical considerations.
Yes, especially when working with children in conflict zones.
You're right. World Vision is very mindful of the ethics involved.
Cool.
They focus on ensuring that all activities are safe, age-appropriate, and that everyone involved understands
what's happening.
Yes.
So it's about being sensitive to the context and ensuring that these activities are
beneficial.
Yes, beneficial for everyone involved.
Precise.
And the article highlights some truly inspiring examples.
Oh, cool.
Of how World Vision is putting these ideas into practice.
Like what?
Have you heard about the Youth for Peace football tournament?
In Kenya.
Yes.
It was designed to address post-election violence.
In the slums, right.
Yes. It's a brilliant example of how sport can be used to channel energy and frustration into something.
And it's something positive.
Yes.
Something that brings people together.
Right.
Instead of tearing them apart.
Exactly.
What else did they do?
Well,
was it just the tournament?
It was much more than just a tournament.
They also had counselors on site to help community members deal with trauma and other social issues. It's a truly holistic approach to
healing and reconciliation.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It is.
And the article mentioned something about child protection projects in South Sudan as well.
Yes, those projects use sports to foster harmony between different communities.
That had a history of conflict.
I see.
They focused on teaching kids valuable life skills, like cooperation, teamwork, and sportsmanship.
So it's not just about
physical activity.
Right.
It's about using sport to teach children the
building blocks of peaceful coexistence.
Exactly.
And it wasn't just about the kids.
Right.
World Vision also worked with community leaders
and volunteers
to create a supportive environment for these activities.
It's great.
I love how they're involving the whole community in the
process.
Yes.
It is.
And you mentioned something earlier about
reviving a traditional dance?
Yes, in Uganda.
Oh, yeah.
World Vision helped revive
the Josie dance,
a unifying dance for the Aitsot people.
Right.
The dance had almost been lost due to years of conflict and displacement.
Wow.
But World Vision recognized its power to bring people together and reconnect them to their
cultural heritage.
It sounds like a beautiful way
to rebuild a sense of community and shared identity.
It is.
It's a reminder that peace building isn't just about addressing the immediate consequences of conflict.
Okay.
It's also about rebuilding the social fabric of a community.
Okay.
Its traditions, its values, its sense of hope for the
future.
Yes.
So we've seen how World Vision is using broad approaches like art and sports for peace building.
Right.
But the article also mentions several specific projects that used creative approaches to
reconciliation.
Yes, can you tell me about some of those?
Absolutely. One project that stands out is MAPOTU in Kenya.
MAPOTU, okay.
They used a really interesting mix of music, dance, drama, and even sports competitions.
Wow, that's quite a mix.
It is.
It sounds like they were really trying to tap into a wide range of interests and talents.
Within the community.
Yes.
They were, and the results were really positive.
That's good.
Even in a region marked by long-standing conflict, these shared experiences help to plant the seeds of empathy and reconciliation.
That's encouraging to hear.
It is.
What about other projects?
Well, in Rwanda, there was the Pray Project, which brought together Hutu, Tutsi, and Twa youth. All groups deeply affected by the Rwandan genocide.
Right.
And they worked together to create artistic expressions about their aspirations for peace.
It's incredible to think that even in the aftermath of something as horrific as
genocide, people are still yearning for peace and a
better future.
It really is. And the article highlights how art can be a powerful tool for expressing that hope and inspiring others to work towards it.
What a powerful message.
It is.
What about Somalia? The article mentioned a project there as well, right?
Yes. In Somalia, they launched the Wajid project, which focused on fostering peaceful coexistence in a region ravaged by conflict. They formed multi-clan sports teams and organized various cultural activities as a way to bring people from different backgrounds together.
It's inspiring to think that even in the most
challenging environments.
Yes, challenging environments.
People are still finding ways to connect, heal, and
rebuild their communities.
Exactly.
It's a testament to the
resilience of the human spirit.
Yes.
It is.
Were there any other projects that you found particularly interesting?
Yes, the Children as Peacebuilders project in Uganda really caught my eye. In this project, youth groups were given the platform to advocate for peace through drama, songs, and debate.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is.
So they were actually giving young people the tools and the platform to
become agents of change in their own communities.
Exactly.
And the impact of these projects wasn't just anecdotal. The article highlights several positive outcomes,
such as
including positive shifts in attitudes,
symbolic actions taken for peace. And even increased civic engagement.
So it's not just about
feel-good moments.
Right.
These projects are actually leading to tangible changes in
how people think and behave.
Absolutely. It's like a ripple effect.
Spreading outward.
Yes, spreading outward from the participants to their families, their communities, and even to those who witness these powerful expressions of hope and reconciliation.
This is all incredibly inspiring.
It is.
But I imagine there are also challenges and
potential pitfalls to consider.
Yes.
When using play for peace building.
Did the article address that?
It did. And in fact, it's something we should
delve into next.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about
all those incredible projects and
the positive impact they're having.
It's important to remember that recreation isn't,
a magic bullet for peace building?
Exactly. As inspiring as these stories are, the article makes it clear
that there's a lot more to it
than just organizing a game or setting up an art project.
Exactly. The authors stress that recreation works best when
it's part of a larger, a more holistic peace-building strategy.
It's not like you just
throw a soccer ball into a conflict zone and expect everything to magically work itself out.
There needs to be a
solid foundation.
Yeah, a solid foundation in place. Things like
a willingness to engage in dialogue,
a
commitment to addressing the root causes of the conflict, and a genuine desire for reconciliation.
Recreation can create the space for those
conversations to happen and for relationships to be built. But it's not a substitute for addressing those
systemic issues.
Yeah, those systemic issues that are often at the heart of these conflicts.
We're talking about
things like inequality, injustice, and lack of access to resources.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
It's like treating the symptoms
without addressing the underlying cause.
Yes. The article also highlighted the need for more investment in
training and capacity building.
Yeah, for artists and peace-building practitioners. Why is that so important?
Because these individuals are the ones
on the front lines.
Yes, on the front lines of peace building.
It's crucial to equip them with the
tools and knowledge.
Yeah, the tools and knowledge they need
to effectively use recreation as a tool for
reconciliation.
Exactly. That includes
understanding the nuances of conflict.
Yeah.
The power of
creative expression.
And the importance of ethical engagement.
Especially when working with vulnerable populations.
It's not just about
good intentions.
Yeah, good intentions.
You need to have the skills and knowledge.
To put those good intentions into practice.
In a way that's actually helpful.
And doesn't inadvertently cause more harm.
Exactly. And the article goes even further by emphasizing the importance
of community ownership.
Yes, community ownership and participation.
Sustainable peace building can't be
imposed from the outside.
It needs to come from
within the community itself.
Driven by the people who are most affected by the
conflict.
So it's about
empowering communities to take ownership of their own
healing and reconciliation process.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
It does.
I imagine there are also some
potential pitfalls.
Yeah, potential pitfalls to watch out for.
Definitely.
The article mentioned something about poorly managed
sports programs.
Yeah, sports programs actually reinforcing
negative stereotypes and divisions.
Can you elaborate on that?
That's a really important point.
Okay.
While sport can be a powerful tool for
peacebuilding,
we need to be aware of
the power dynamics.
Yes, the power dynamics that can come into play.
I see.
We need to be mindful of how programs are
designed
and implemented
to ensure that they're truly
inclusive, respectful, and designed to promote understanding
rather than exacerbate existing tensions.
Exactly.
Could you give me an example of what that might look like in practice?
Okay, imagine a situation where a sports program is set up to promote peace
between two rival communities.
Right. Now, if the program is poorly designed, it could end up inadvertently favoring
one community over the other.
Yeah, either through biased officiating,
I see,
unequal access to resources, or even by unconsciously reinforcing existing prejudices
among the participants.
Exactly.
So it's about being really attentive to those subtle
dynamics.
Yes, those subtle dynamics.
And ensuring that everyone feels
valued.
Yes, valued.
Respected.
And has an equal opportunity to participate.
And benefit from the program.
Precisely. And that leads us to the article's final point. Which is the critical importance of thorough
conflict analysis.
Yes, thorough conflict analysis before implementing any recreational
interventions.
Exactly.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all. You need to tailor the interventions to the specific context
of the conflict you're trying to address.
But what does a thorough conflict analysis entail?
It involves delving deep into the history of the conflict, understanding the root causes, identifying the key actors and stakeholders, and mapping out the existing power dynamics.
Basically, you need to have a solid grasp of the
complexities of the situation before you can even begin to design an effective intervention. Exactly.
It's about listening to the community.
Right.
Understanding their needs.
And then tailoring the program to fit the specific context
of the conflict.
Yes.
And it's also about acknowledging that there's no
quick fix to conflict.
Right.
Peacebuilding is a
process.
Yeah, that demands patience.
Okay.
Commitment and a willingness to
learn and adapt along the way.
Exactly. You might need to adjust your strategies
as you go
based on the feedback you're getting from
the community.
Yes.
It's not about swooping in with a
prepackaged solution.
Yeah, it's about building relationships.
Understanding the nuances of the conflict.
And working collaboratively with the community.
To find solutions that will be sustainable in the long run.
Well said.
I think the article sums it up nicely.
How so?
By saying, yes, recreation has incredible potential, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's be strategic, let's be mindful, and let's work together to create lasting change.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
And it really highlights the importance of approaching this work with both a sense of
optimism and a healthy dose of realism.
Absolutely. We can't underestimate the power
of play.
But we also need to be aware of its
limitations.
So we've explored the theory behind using play for peacebuilding.
Right.
We've delved into some inspiring examples
from World Vision's work.
And we've also discussed some of the
potential challenges and considerations.
What are some key takeaways?
Okay, I love you.
Yes. What are some key takeaways you'd like our listener to walk away with?
I think the biggest takeaway is that peacebuilding isn't just something that happens
out there.
Yeah, out there in some far-off conflict zone.
That's a great point.
It's something we can all contribute to.
Starting right here in our own communities.
Exactly.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of
global conflict.
But the truth is that peacebuilding starts with each
one of us
in our everyday interactions.
Absolutely. Maybe it's volunteering at a local
youth sports program,
or organizing a community art project,
or simply engaging in conversations that
challenge our own biases and assumptions.
Every small step we take,
every connection we make,
can contribute to building a more just and peaceful
world.
I love that.
It's about shifting our mindset from being
passive observers
to active participants in creating a more
peaceful future.
Exactly. And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe someday the idea of using play to heal conflict
won't seem so radical.
Yeah, it won't seem so radical after all.
Maybe you'll just become
a natural part of who we are and how we interact with each other.
That's a beautiful thought.
It is.
The article mentioned
Traditional practices.
Yeah, like the Akoli Wango gatherings in Uganda.
Yeah.
Can you tell our listener a bit more about that?
The Wango is
a fascinating tradition.
It's essentially a gathering around a
tiger,
where elders use storytelling to
transmit cultural values
and peace-building approaches
that have been passed down through
generations.
It sounds like a powerful way to connect people to their
shared history
and inspire them to build a more peaceful future.
Have you ever experienced the power of storytelling to bridge divides or transmit important values?
Personally, I find that stories have an incredible ability to
break down barriers and create
empathy.
When we hear someone else's story, we're invited to step into their shoes
and see the world from their perspective.
Powerful way to
foster understanding and connection.
Yeah,
it's like that saying,
people won't remember what you said,
but they'll remember how you made them feel.
And stories have a way of doing just that.
Evoking emotions. And creating lasting
impressions.
And it's not just about
preserving the past.
These traditions, like the Wango, offer a different lens
through which to view
conflict and peace.
They tap into a deeper understanding of
community,
a shared value,
and the interconnectedness of all
beings. The article also mentioned the Ajosi dance,
which World Vision helped to
revive.
The Ajosi is a traditional dance of the Adisot people in
Uganda.
It's a joyous and energetic dance.
That celebrates unity and
togetherness.
What's really interesting is that the dance had almost been
lost
due to years of
conflict and displacement.
But World Vision recognized its power to
bring people together
and reconnect them to their
cultural heritage.
So they worked with the community to
revive it.
So it's more than just a
dance.
Yeah, it's a symbol of
resilience,
of cultural identity, and the enduring human. These traditions offer a reminder that peacebuilding isn't just about
treaties and negotiations.
It's about tapping into the very soul of a community.
Its
values, its collective
wisdom.
And it's about recognizing that different cultures have
different ways of approaching peace.
What works in one context might not work in another.
It's about respecting those differences
and finding ways to build
bridges between them. This deep dive has been incredibly
open.
We've covered a lot of ground.
From the theoretical underpinnings of using play for peace building to inspiring real-world example.
And some important considerations to keep in. It's been a fascinating
vibration.
And I hope it sparked some
new ideas.
And inspired our listener to think about how they can contribute to building a more peaceful world.
Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your thoughts on something we touched on
earlier.
We were talking about how sport can be a powerful tool for
peace building,
but also how it can inadvertently reinforce negative stereotypes.
If it's not done
thoughtfully.
Do you have any advice for organizations or individuals who are interested in using sport for peace building?
How can they avoid those pitfalls and ensure that their programs are truly inclusive and beneficial?
For everyone involved? That's a great question. I think one of the most important things is to go beyond just like organizing a sports tournament or activity. You need to create a space where participants can engage in meaningful dialogue. Build relationships and challenge those stereotypes and prejudices.
And fuel conflict.
Exactly.
So it's about fostering an environment of
respect, understanding, and
open communication.
Yes, open communication. And it's also crucial to involve members of the community in every stage of the process, from planning and design to implementation and evaluation.
That makes a lot of sense.
It helps to ensure that the program is
truly tailored to their
needs. And that it reflects their values and priorities. So it's about empowering communities to
take ownership.
To take ownership of their own peace building process.
Precisely. And it's also about being mindful of the
power dynamics.
Yes, the power dynamics at play. Like, are certain groups being excluded or marginalized? Are resources being distributed fairly?
These are all questions that
need to be carefully considered and addressed.
It sounds like it requires a lot of
careful planning.
Careful planning and ongoing reflection.
To make sure you're doing more good than
harm.
It does. But the potential rewards are
immense.
When done well, sports can be a powerful tool for breaking down barriers, promoting understanding and building
lasting peace.
Yes, lasting peace.
Well, this has been a truly fascinating
deep dive.
We've explored the theoretical foundations of using recreation for peace building.
Right.
Delved into some inspiring examples
from World Vision's work.
And even discussed some of the potential
challenges and ethical considerations.
I think
it's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to circle back to those real-world
examples.
Yeah. The article highlighted several specific projects,
each with its own unique approach.
I was particularly struck by
the MAPOTU project in Kenya,
which used a mix of
music, dance, drama, and sports
to bring together communities in conflict over
cattle rustling and resources.
Can you remind us what made this project so
successful?
Yes.
One of the key factors in MAPOTU's success was its ability to tap into a wide range of
interests and talents.
Yeah, interests and talents within the community.
By offering such a diverse array of activities,
they were able to engage people from all walks of life.
Okay.
And create a truly inclusive space for dialogue and
interaction.
It
sounds like they were really intentional
about creating a program that resonated with the specific needs and interests of
a community.
Exactly. And that's a critical lesson for anyone working in
peace building.
There's no one-size-fits-all. You need to understand the context,
the culture,
and the specific dynamics of the conflict
that you're trying to address.
Exactly.
The article also highlighted the Pray project
in Rwanda,
which brought together Hutu, Tutsi, and Twa youth
to create art that expressed their aspirations for
peace.
Yes, for peace. What struck you about that
project?
What I found most powerful about Pray was its focus on healing and reconciliation.
It wasn't about
dwelling on the past or assigning.
Really?
It was about giving young people from all sides of the conflict an opportunity to express their hopes for
a future
and to create something
beautiful together.
Yes, beautiful together.
It's a powerful reminder that even in the aftermath of something as horrific as genocide,
there's still a yearning for peace
and a belief in the possibility of a
better future.
Absolutely. And art can be a powerful vehicle for
expressing that hurt
and inspiring others to work towards it.
Exactly.
And then there was the Wajid project, which used multi-clan sports teams and cultural activities to foster
peaceful coexistence
in a region devastated by
conflict.
What were some of the key takeaways from that
project?
Yes.
Wajid highlighted the importance of creating safe spaces
where people from different backgrounds can
come together.
Yeah, come together, build relationships, and rediscover their
shared humanity
in a context where conflict and division had become the norm.
Wajid offered a glimmer of hope.
Okay.
And a reminder that peace is possible,
even in the most
challenging of circumstances.
It's amazing how something as simple as a game or a shared cultural experience can have such a profound impact on people's
lives.
It really is.
And it speaks to the power of human connection
and our innate desire for
peace and harmony.
And finally, there was the Children as Peace Builders project
in Uganda,
where youth groups used
drama songs and debate
to advocate for.
What
impressed you about that
project?
Yes.
Children as Peace Builders demonstrated the power of empowering young people
to become agents of change.
Yes, agents of change in their own communities.
By giving them a platform to
voice their concerns,
share their experiences,
to advocate for peace.
The project nurtured a generation of peace builders who were committed to creating a more
an equitable
world.
Yes.
It's inspiring to see young people taking such an active role in shaping their own
future.
It is. And it gives me hope for the future, knowing that there are so many passionate and dedicated individuals working tirelessly to build a more
peaceful world.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into this fascinating world of
peace building through recreation.
It's been a pleasure sharing this journey with you and our
listener.
We've explored how play, sports, arts, and even traditional cultural practices can help heal communities
torn apart by conflict.
We've seen inspiring examples of how these approaches are being put into practice around the world.
Yes.
And we've also discussed some of the challenges and ethical
considerations that need to be addressed.
The key takeaway for me is that peacebuilding isn't some abstract concept.
That's out of our reach.
It's something we can all contribute to.
Starting in our own homes.
Our own community.
In our own hearts.
Whether it's through play art dialogue or simply by treating each other with kindness and respect.
We all have a role to play in creating a more
peaceful and just. Absolutely. And remember, even the smallest actions can have a
ripple effect.
Never underestimate the power of your own individual contribution to this.
Collective effort.
Thank you for joining us on this
deep dive.
We hope you found it as inspiring and thought-provoking as
we have.